Robots Part 1. Are robots important? Yes, robots are very important. I think the scope of work done by robots will continue to grow in the future. 2. Would robots affect people's lives? Of course it affects people's lives. As robots take over the work done by people, their work efficiency increases and some people earn more money or have more leisure time. But some people lose their jobs as a result. 3. Have you ever watched a movie about robots? Yes, I have seen Steven Spielberg's movie AI when I saw a robot that learned emotions, feel joy, sadness, and happiness like a human. I thought it was possible. I was also shocked that such a robot could be cruelly eliminated by humans. 4. Should we let a robot drive for us for a long journey? Yes, there is already a lot of development of self-driving cars, and I think this is something we need to accept. I think it can be used, especially if it is a long distance and the driving is simple. 5. What can robots do for you at home? Now I am using a robot vacuum cleaner and mop. I expect that robots that help with cooking will also appear in the future. Now that I think about it, I think it will play a big role in helping more women advance into society. Bad service Part 2. Describe a bad service you received in a restaurant, shop. A few months ago, I went to a soup dumpling Chinese restaurant. I used to go there often and it was a popular restaurant that was always crowded. That day too, after receiving a number and waiting for a while, I entered the restaurant. After waiting for a long time, soup dumplings were served, but they had been cooked for too long so all the soup was gone. I think the kitchen probably made a mistake with too many orders. My husband was angry and wanted to complain right away, but I said we would just talk after we ate and left. I didn't want it to escalate because there were a lot of people around and I wanted to come to that restaurant again. However, when I mentioned the incident while paying, the manager simply said that he would check and there was no apology. I was disappointed in their response and felt sorry for my husband for having to eat the tasteless food. I thought that from now on, when a problem arises, I need to point it out right away and seek my rights as a consumer. Noise Part 1. Do you like to stay in a place with a lot of noise? No, I hate being in noisy places. So I've never been to a club or anything like that. 2. What kinds of noises are there in the area where you live? I live in a very large apartment complex in Seoul. The noise I hear there is mainly that of cars. Sometimes I can hear the sounds of children playing on the playground, but I don't think it's noise. The sounds of happy children give me energy. 3. Do you want to move to a quieter place? No, I was born and raised in a big city called Seoul, so I think I'm used to noise. I've never thought about going to a quieter place. 4. Do you think there is too much noise in today's world? No, I don't think there's a lot more noise. There are places where there is more noise, but there are also places where there is less noise. For example, we often communicate through text messages instead of talking on the phone, and the number of cars that do not make much noise has increased thanks to the development of technology. 5. Is making noise one of people's rights? No, I don't think so. Then, some people have the right to be in a quiet place. I think making noise is something you have to be careful about depending on the situation. Computer Strike Part 2. Describe an occasion when you waited a long time for a nice thing. Last summer, I went to Universal Studios in LA with my family. Her husband said that the Jurassic World ride was very popular and that we had to go on it. My son was very excited to hear that story. I came this far and thought I should try some of the popular rides. When we first got in line, we were told we would have to wait for about 40 minutes. But I actually waited 90 minutes to ride that attraction. I don't know why either. I don't know if there were many express ticket holders who could ride without waiting in line at that time or if something happened. There is a video that comes out to relieve boredom while waiting in line. And I think I watched it about 20 times. There was no place to sit while waiting and it was very hot. Finally it was our turn and the Jurassic World ride was a lot of fun. Actually, it seemed like the ride lasted less than 5 minutes. As soon as we got off the ride, my husband and I were so tired. I wanted to come home right away. I couldn't do that because of my child. Musical Instruments Part 1. Have you ever learned to play a musical instrument? Yes, I learned playing a piano in elementary school. I think there was a stereotype back then that any young girl had to learn to play the piano. However, I really hated learning. 2. What musical instruments do you enjoy listening to the most? I like listening to piano music. I adore its unique, clear tone. I also think it's great that songs of various genres can be expressed differently. 3. Do you think children should learn to play an instrument at school? No, I don't think so. When I was in school, I had to learn recorder, harmonica, and danso, and I also had to take tests in front to my classmates. Everyone has different talents and interests, so I think forcing them to play a musical instrument is torture. 4. Do you think music education is important to children? Yes, I think there are many good things about studying music. For example, you can build basic knowledge by learning about famous composers such as Mozart and Beethoven. I also think that children benefit emotionally from listening to their music. It may also be an opportunity for some children to discover their hidden talents. Computer Strike Part 2. Describe an activity that made you feel tired. Last summer, I went to Universal Studios in LA with my family. My husband said that the Jurassic World ride was very popular and that we had to go on it. My son was very excited to hear that. Because I thought I came this far, so I should try some of the popular rides. When we first got in line, we were told we would have to wait for about 40 minutes. But I actually waited 90 minutes to ride that attraction. I don't know why either. I don't know if there were many express ticket holders who could ride without waiting in line at that time or if something happened. There was a video that comes out to relieve boredom while waiting in line, and I think I watched it about 20 times. There was no place to sit while waiting and it was very hot. Finally it was our turn and the Jurassic World ride was a lot of fun. Actually, it seemed like the ride lasted less than 5 minutes. As soon as we got off the ride, my husband and I were so exhausted. I wanted to go home right away. I couldn't do that because of my child.
Map Part 1-1. Do you often use maps? Yes, I often use navigation when driving a car. I have no sense of direction, so looking at a map is very important. 2. Do you use paper maps? No. I mainly use my cell phone to look at maps. I think the only time I use a paper map is when I'm in an amusement park. 3. How often do you use maps on your phone? I use it very often. When I drive, I turn on the navigation as a habit, even when taking the route I take every day. When I go to a new place, I naturally look at a map on my phone. 4. Do you have maps at home? No. I don't have a separate map at home because I can just look at it on my cell phone. A few years ago, I pasted a world map on the wall for interior decoration. Good Life Changes Part 2. Describe a time that something changed your life in good ways. 2 years ago, I acquired national qualifications as a customized cosmetics preparation technician. I will never forget the day my test results came back. The successful candidates will be announced at 10 a.m., and I think I was very nervous a week ago. As I was a non-major, I had no relevant knowledge. Since I don't usually wear makeup, it was difficult to memorize even the basic names of cosmetics. Still, I woke up at 4 a.m. for 2 months and studied really hard. To save money, instead of going to an academy or taking expensive lectures, I studied on my own by listening to free lectures on YouTube. In the end, not only did I pass the exam the first time, but I also ranked first in the country. As I got older, at some point studying and taking new tests felt awkward. But the fact that I took on a new challenge and achieved it gave me the confidence that it was never too late to do anything. After that, I obtained another national certification and am currently taking the IELTS test because I want to learn something new.
Helping Others Part 1. 1. Do you usually help people around you? Yes, I go to the orphanage every Tuesday to donate my talents. I teach math to elementary and middle school students. 2. How do you help people around you, such as neighbors, family, and friends? I teach math to children in an orphanage. It's nice to be able to donate my talents with the little ability I have. 3. Do your parents teach you how to help others? They didn't teach me how to help, but I was taught that I should help. My parents taught me that I should not take what I have for granted and that I should share it with those in need. 4. Did your parents help you a lot when you were young? No, My parents tended to let me do things myself. Perhaps because I have many siblings, I thought it was natural to do things on my own rather than expecting more help from my parents. 5. What have you done to help the elderly? I learned haircutting as a hobby, and at that time, I went to a nursing home in the countryside and volunteered to cut hair. I felt happy when I saw that the seniors liked it. Interesting place part 2. Describe a place in your country that you think is interesting. The interesting place I think is an island called Songdo. It's in Incheon. Because it is connected by a very large bridge, you don't really think of it as an island. There is a large artificial lake in the middle of the city, and the surrounding scenery is very beautiful, and there are many restaurants along the promenade. Because it is a lake filled with seawater, you can see sea creatures. You can also take a boat ride around the lake, and the park next to the lake has deer and rabbits, making it a good place to go with children. I heard that thanks to this, you can see very beautiful views and night scenes every day, even from inside your apartment. Being able to see the West Sea and the setting sun from here is a big reason that makes this place even more beautiful. I especially like the sky turning red when the sun sets, so I saw it on social media and went there with my family. At that time, while watching the sunset, I thought that I would like to live here when I get older. Gifts Part 1. Have you ever sent handmade gifts to others? Yes. Every year, rather than buying carnations for Parents' Day, I try to make them myself out of paper or something like that. I also give cosmetic creams tailored to their skin types as gifts to close friends. 2. Have you ever received a great gift? Judging that it is a great gift seems to be a subjective opinion. Every time I receive a gift, I think it's a great gift, and especially the bouquet of flowers and handwritten cards my husband gives me every year on our wedding anniversary or birthday are truly great gifts. 3. What do you consider when choosing a gift? I spend the most time thinking about what the person receiving the gift will like and what that person's tastes are. And when choosing a gift, imagine how happy that person will be when he or she receives it. 4. Do you think you are good at choosing gifts? Yes. I am a picky person and I think I am good at choosing gifts for others. However, I feel a bit stressed out because I worry too much every time. Useful advertising Part 2. Describe a good advertisement that you think is useful. When I think of a good advertisement, I immediately think of it for a diet company that were posted in movie theater bathrooms about 10 years ago. At the time, there were no advertisements posted in movie theater restrooms, so the company had a complete monopoly. Also, since we were not yet in the era where smartphones had taken over, there was nothing else to do while sitting on the toilet. Everyone had no choice but to look at the diet advertisement posted in front of them. In the poster, there were before and after photos of a singer who was famous for being good-looking but had gained a lot of weight. However, he regained his original appearance after using the company's diet program. It was immediately visible and stuck in my mind. I think there's probably no one my age who doesn't know about that advertisement. Later, I saw in a book written by the company's CEO that the advertisement had a tremendous effect. After that, the company took a huge leap forward and was eventually sold for 250 billion won. I think it was innovative to come up with the idea when no one had thought of advertising in movie theater restrooms, and it was a great design to use photos that could show the effect in the simplest and clearest way possible.